Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the New York City Retirement Systems Common Investment Meeting for Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. We're going to start by doing the roll calls. So let's start with teachers. Is Patricia Riley here to call the roll for teachers? If you're here,
John, I can do it if you want.
Okay. Yes, Mr. McTee, could you do that, please? Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Adler?
Yes, I'm here.
Thomas Brown?
Here, Thad. Thank you.
Natalie Green Giles?
Good morning. I'm here.
David Kazansky?
Present.
Russell Buckley?
Here.
Deborah Penny?
Present.
And Susanna Vickers?
Here.
John, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Thad. Next, NYSERS, Melanie Winery, can you call the roll for NYSERS? Melanie,
Chair, Mayor's Office,
yeah, John Adler, present.
Controller's Office,
David Jeter for Controller, Scott Stringer, present.
Public Advocate's Office, Borough President, Manhattan,
Matthew Washington here.
Borough President, Brooklyn,
Tanya Cantlow, representing Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams.
Borough President, Queens,
Alan Swisher for Queensborough President Sharon Lee.
Borough President, Staten Island,
Isaac Gordetsky for Borough President James Otto.
Borough President, Queens.
Melanie, I think that
I meant to go on to the Bronx. Yes. Borough
Great.
President, Bronx.
Maritha Camille Sabio for Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr.
International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
Ruben Torres and Lawrence Bosley for President Gregory Floyd.
Transport Workers Union.
Dave Katzman for TWU Local 100 President Tony Utano.
District Council 37. We have a quorum.
Great. Thank you very much, Melanie. Next to police is Kevin Holleran here.
I'm here, John. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Kevin.
Good morning. Representing the PBA.
Representative PBA Joe Alejandro.
DEA.
Kenny Sparks representing the DEA.
SBA.
Anthony Borelli representing the SBA.
LBA.
Lou Churko representing the LBA.
EA.
Johnny Ramirez representing the CEA.
Commissioner of Finance.
Phil Dukes representing the Commissioner of Finance.
Representing the Mayor.
Shimon Ray representing Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Controller.
John Dorsett, designee for Controller, Scott Stringer.
And the Police Commissioner.
Stephanie Zimberg representing Commissioner Shea.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Kevin.
John, I just want to make note, I think Betty Caradaro, this is her first meeting. I know she made it on or there's some issues, but if she's on, she can say hi. Okay. If not, then I'll just note that she should be on soon.
As a representative of the PBA, Joe?
She will be a representative also of the PBA.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Next, fire, Leroy McGinnis. Leroy?
Leroy.
Okay, Leroy, we're not able to hear you. I saw you earlier.
I see him. Leroy, you're on mute.
It's on a no phone thing. It actually isn't even a mute sign.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Leroy. Good.
Okay, great. Okay, I had a problem a second ago. I'm looking for a couple of my UOA members.
Okay, we're barely hearing you, Leroy. So, okay, Leroy, we actually can't hear you now.
Is this better?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. I apologize. Having some tech difficulties. For the mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Cynthia Collins, designee for Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Morning, Cindy.
Good morning.
For the controller, Scott Stringer.
Jennifer Konovitz, designee for Controller Scott Stringer.
Morning, Jennifer. For the commissioner of finance, Jack Jiha.
Steve Yan for Finance Commissioner Jacques Jiha.
Good morning, Steve. For UFA, Mr. Andrew Ansbro.
Andrew Ansbro here. Good morning.
Good morning, Andy. Mr. Robert Eustace.
Morning, Leroy.
Good morning, Bobby. Mr. Edward Brown.
Here.
Morning, Ed. Mr. Eric Bischoff.
Good morning, Leroy. Present.
Good morning. For the Marines, Mr. John Young.
John Young, present.
All right, now for the UFOA, Mr. Jack Kempy. All right. Mr. Liam Guilfoyle. Mr. Paul Mannix. I don't see them on the screen. I'm wondering if they didn't get the 9 a.m. start time. So we'll give them a minute. For Commissioner Dan Nigro.
Terrell Brown for Commissioner Nigro.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Jack Kelty, they'll be logging in shortly.
Okay.
I believe we'll have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you, Leroy.
Thank you.
Okay, and for PERS, Sandy Rich, are you on the screen?
Morning, John.
Morning.
Yep, we're represented today by trustees Natalie Green Giles and Russell Buckley. We do not have a quorum. We'll administer this business next week at our regular board meeting.
Great. Thank you, Sandy. Okay, before we start, I'd like to say that some trustees have been concerned about the efficiency of the common investment meeting. So BAM and I are making some small changes today to attempt to improve the pace of the meeting so we can look to stay on schedule and get done on time. As facilitator, I'm going to start trying to have the meeting correspond more closely to the times listed in your agenda on Convene. That means BAM will be tighter in their presentations and will ask you to hold system-specific discussion of recommendations in your own caucuses. I'll give a heads up to managers when they need to wrap up their presentation, and I'll also give trustees a heads up when the time for questions is nearing an end and ask everyone to please cooperate. If there are additional questions that you have for managers, BAM will make them available to you during the caucuses on Zoom. Okay, thanks for your cooperation. And with that, we're going to take motions to exit this public session and enter executive session. So starting with teachers, is there a motion at teachers to exit public session and enter executive session?
So moved, John.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Penny. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion at teachers, please unmute yourselves and say aye to exit public session and enter executive session.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. At teachers, at NICERS, is there a motion to exit public session and enter executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bosley and Mr. Jetter. Is that a second I heard?
Second, it wasn't me, but it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Your screen lit up. Your little yellow box lit up. That's why I thought it was you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no problems. Okay, we have a motion and a second at NICERS to exit public session and enter executive session. Please unmute yourselves. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, at police, is there a motion to exit public session and enter executive?
Motion to leave executive public session and go into executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Alejandro. Who is the second? Mr. Dorsa. Thank you. Any discussion at police? All in favor of the motion to exit public session and enter executive session at police, please unmute yourselves and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. And at fire, is there a motion to exit public session and enter executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you,
Eddie Brown.
Eustace. We got Bobby Eustace just under the wire, Mr. Brown. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion at fire to exit public session and enter executive session, please unmute yourselves and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries at fire. So that concludes our public session this morning. We're going to enter executive session at all the boards. If we can, please turn off the cameras of the recording. And I'd ask all members of the public and the